What is up, guys? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video. And today we will be taking a look at the Republicans' best case scenario for 2024. Now, before we start today's video, hope you guys enjoy this type of content. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes. Let us try to hit 9,000 subs before the end of the month. I still think we can do it. That'll be greatly appreciated, and yes. So today we will be taking a look at what is the Republicans' best case scenario in 2024 as of now. Now note, this is not a, this is what's going to happen type prediction. This is absolutely best case scenario for Republicans. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying that this is the best case scenario that the GOP as of now will get. This is the floor, or I should say the ceiling that the GOP will get. Now, before we take a look at the map, we got to take a look at what's really happening in America. So the first and foremost thing is Biden's approval. Again, go check out the website. We got new articles coming out soon. Just as of now, we kind of had to slow down because, well, yeah, working the model and stuff. But you're noticing that Biden's approval is 43%. His disapproval is around 50.9%. And when we add the September 10th polls, i.e. like Trafalgar, I believe CNN had a couple. When you actually adjust those for past results, sample size, all of that, this is probably going to be like 42% approve, 53% disapprove. I don't know exactly, but it's just going to get worse from here on out. The only reason there was a little spike was a few polls that were showing big declines for Biden got taken out of the aggregate because it's been a couple weeks. So yes. You're noticing that Biden's approval is sinking. And folks, this is faster than Obama's. Obama was usually 50-50 around Labor Day. Some people were really mad at him, but most still thought, okay, he's a decent enough president. This guy is fine. And with Trump, his real approval rating always stayed around 46, 45%. His floor was always that number. It was never 30%. Don't believe those bullshit polls. His real floor was 45, 46%. Biden's was 42%. This was the worst day he's had. And this is one of the most pathetic approval ratings in a first-term incumbent ever. This is bad. And again, I know I think 538 had like Trump negative 20 or something like that. Well, to be fair, 538 sucks. And when you adjust for actual polling results, the past sample size, Trump was like disapproval +5, not disapproval +7 or 8. When Biden won the popular vote by 6, that is not good. Or 5 or 4, I should say. He won the popular vote by 4, and his approval is down to 2. Now, multiple things happened. We, of course, know the certain abandoning of our citizens in a certain country in the Middle East, but also economic news. And it's going to collapse even further after what he announced yesterday. Not going to get into it because I don't want to get sniped off of YouTube as of now. So his approval rating as of now is showing it's probably going to be like low 40s, if that high 30s at best, I think. Maybe 43% is going to be a ceiling for a while. I mean, his approval rating is going to continue to slide hard, especially with what he just did yesterday with a certain drug that, anyways, you get the point. So Biden's approval continues to slip. It's going to get way down here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's mid-30s by the midterms. And 2024 will probably go up again, probably low 40s. So as of now, his approval rating is indicating a best case scenario probably is likely. And second part is the economic data. This is a pathetic recovery. We had 14.8% unemployment in April of 2020. We're down to August of 2021. We're still at 5%. That's it. This is one of the most pathetic recoveries ever. And if this was Trump, I'm not trying to, be biased here, but let's be real here. If it was Trump, this would be closer to 3.5% than it is to 5%. I mean, Trump's recovery for the economy was pretty good. I mean, by November, it went from, 14 or 15% down to almost 7%. just in a couple of months. So it's not crazy to say with Trump's economic policy, it probably would be, low 4, high 3%. And of course, we got the GDP. I know GDP is not the best metric, but guys, this is a pathetic recovery. I mean, 13% growth rate for second quarter. On paper, that seems good, but you had a 32.5% freaking GDP bust. So the fact of the matter is, this should not be 13%. Now, 13% should be back here, right? Back in the '08 recession. It should be 13% back here. But that was a slow recovery. This is even worse. This should be at least 15, 20%. If this was Trump, again, probably a 30% boom. The only reason that the quarter was not so good was because there was some economic skepticism about Biden. And I think some of that skepticism is coming back after the certain mandates he announced yesterday. You get the point that the economic and approval data is indicating that what I'm about to show you guys, there is a chance of it happening. Best case scenario for the Republicans in 2024. Donald Trump's the nominee, and at this point, I'm not even going to try to guess who the Democrat nominee is going to be. I don't know. I flat out have no clue who the nominee will be. I mean, it could be Biden again, but it's just such a hard one to predict who's the nominee. It's going to be either Biden or Harris. Probably Pete Buttigieg is up there. That's about it. I highly doubt to be Harris, but she has a chance at the moment. So as of now, let's get right into it. Safe states. I'm not even gonna mess around with this. Best case scenario, these are safe states. Texas would be safe in the best case scenario. A lot of the suburban trends revert in the Dallas area, in the Houston area. Same thing in Maine second. Alaska's safe. And these are the safe states nobody can argue about. For Democrats, California, Washington, Northeast, of course, everybody knows the Northeast. Everybody knows the Northeast. Hawaii, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. I'd actually take out Delaware. New York, and the great state of Vermont. These would all be safe, and probably Maine's first still, would all be safe Democrat. Again, best case scenario, not include this. Probably not going to happen, but absolute ceiling for the Democrat or Republicans in 2024. Now, let's get rid of the 3 states or 4 states that may be questionable. Oregon. Yes, it made some big swings towards the left in 2020. However, in a best case scenario, before the pandemic, Trump was probably going to be within 10 points of Oregon. I do think the pandemic killed Trump in Oregon. That's one of those big issues. Folks, everybody saw what happened in Oregon during the summer, the riots, the disastrous COVID policies. I really do believe that killed him in the state of Oregon. I do believe in the best case scenario, some of the suburbanites realize, the mean tweets, they're not so bad compared to what's happening now. We're already seeing this in the special election in Texas, special elections up in the Northeast. We're seeing this everywhere. That there is some major voting regret for Democrats in the United States. Illinois, same deal. Biden won it by around 16 points or so. I can see it swinging like 6, 7 points Republican, especially with recent polls showing Trump win the popular vote by 4 or 5 as of today. But again, best case scenario, I don't see it's crazy to say Illinois is likely Democrat. It's a 6, 7 point swing. If the nation swings 5, 6 points Republican, that's enough to turn into a likely state. Delaware. Just took a look at what happened in 2016. It was almost within 10 percentage points. The only reason that Delaware, and even say like New Jersey, which I'm going to put likely, wasn't within 10 points was mostly because of Biden being from Delaware. He was a senator for a long time there. It caused a massive shift in favor of him. A lot of the Biden Dems in New Jersey and Delaware, I do believe, only voted for him because it was Joe. If it was anybody else, highly doubt they voted. And it's not crazy to say. I think it was like a 14-point win for Clinton in New Jersey and like a 10-point win in Delaware. That's not crazy to say. Like, again, it's 5, 6 points swing nationwide. Not nuts to say. Now let's get through the likely states. Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and of course, the great state of Arizona. Now again, these are the 4 states I do believe would be likely. Arizona. This is if like a bunch of the Tucson vote, reverts back to the Republicans. A lot of the Phoenix suburbs, which I made a video on, by the way, vote based on the nation, which again, that's huge in Arizona as of now. Like 5-point swing nationwide. Not crazy to say Arizona's likely. Wisconsin just trending Republican. All indicators are saying it's trending Republican. Even LTE says the lean Republican state as of now. North Carolina, it's kind of like Wisconsin, though not as much. North Carolina did trend to the right in 2020, so it's not nuts to say, make a couple points swing to the right, especially with the national environment. And same thing in Georgia. I think that if you somehow, do a lot better with black vote, the Asian vote, you can make big inroads in Georgia. Now, again, I'm not saying long term it's going to stay Republican, but best case scenario, 4 or 5 point win in Georgia. Not really crazy if it's a national environment that's favorable to the Republicans. There's a lot of Biden regret and all of that. Now, for the likely Dem states, Virginia and Colorado. Now, I'm not saying, again, they're not going to be, within 5 or anything like that. I think, like, Virginia, 6-7 point win for Dems in 2024, most likely. Colorado, like, 8-9-10 point win for Democrats. For Virginia, we're seeing some indications that a lot of the trends up in Nova are finally starting to slow down. And I do believe a lot of the mandates that Biden just announced is going to kill him in a state like Virginia. And now a state like Colorado. I mean, there's a lot of left-wing people from California who moved to Colorado. There is evidence of this. They moved mostly to Colorado. And not just because of weed, but also escaped some of the absurd COVID regulations from California. But now it's in Colorado. I don't think people are going to be too happy with that. And I do believe that's going to cause a big revolt against the DNC in the state of Colorado. Not going to stop the trends, though. Still like a, 8-9 point win for Democrats. Virginia, again, 5-6-7 point win for Democrats. It's so weird having Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Oregon as all the same margins. But again, you look at the 2010 or 2020 results, the 2016 results, look at national trends. When you compare all of that, like a R+1 or 2 environment, not crazy to say these 5 states, or I should say 6 states, are likely Democrat. Again, it's not crazy to say that. Now, for the lean Republican states, Nevada, Michigan, the state of Pennsylvania, and Nebraska's second. I don't know what they're going to do with redistricting. They're already botching that one. But, I mean, these are self-explanatory. Again, with a 6-point swing nationwide. It's, again, not nuts to say those 3 states make a huge shift towards the right. And Pennsylvania is borderline likely, probably. Same thing in Nevada. Michigan a bit iffy because, excuse me, but Michigan's a bit iffy because of the, excuse me about that, but Michigan is iffy because mostly of how will parts of the state trend. How heavy will Kent County trend Republican in 2024? That's the issue with Michigan. Pennsylvania, I think, is a bit easier. I think Democrats are starting to max down the Philly suburbs. And Republicans have a lot to gain in the central part of the state. And overall, again, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be like a 5-point win for Trump for sure. But this is, as of now, the best case scenario. I do believe the 3 states would go lean Republican. Now for the 3 final states, or 4 final states. How will they vote? New Mexico. I do believe best case scenario with trends with Hispanics, Latino voters, and some suburbanite regret. Within 5 points in a state like New Mexico, absolutely could see that. I mean, it did trend a couple points Republican. And as a whole, the state is making a slow shift towards the right. There's a lot of oil in New Mexico. Go look up at the oil map in New Mexico. It's basically half the state. It's huge in New Mexico. And they are mostly good on issues like abortion. There are some polls on New Mexico where they're fairly socially conservative. They're just more left-wing economics. That's pretty much Hispanics to a T. So as of now, this is what I believe will be New Mexico, like a 4 or 5 point win for whoever the Democrat is. I know it's weird seeing New Mexico vote to the left of Virginia and Colorado, but that's what the trends are indicating. Minnesota, I think, would go red. And same thing, New Hampshire. Minnesota, I think, just had too much white guilt in 2020. And some shenanigans may have happened. I'm not going to get into it, but there is some evidence to say some things may have happened in the state of Minnesota. Now, New Hampshire just hates incumbents. Go look up their history. They've always trended away against them, the incumbent party. They've always trended. So, New Hampshire, I think, especially with what happened in Afghanistan, if Trump runs an anti-war message, he could easily win the state. Maine, I think it would be close, but probably like a lean, 2, maybe 3 point win for Biden or whoever the Democrat is. Borderline tilt. I do believe as of now, Maine is still going to be somewhat Democrat, especially even with a best case scenario. So this is my current best case scenario for Republicans. Now again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, nor is it like going to be exact, right? I mean, you can make argument for Colorado, Oregon, Illinois, Virginia, and New Jersey being safe. You can make a valid argument. But you take into account certain trends with certain groups. You take into account a more favorable national environment. And you just take into account 2016 results. And this is what I do believe the best case scenario for Republicans would be. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.